He says Deuteronomy can't refer to Muhammad because the word countrymen means fellow Israelite. Actually, Genesis chapter 16 explicitly calls Ishmael the brethren of his brothers, which is Isaac and the other sons of Ishmael, of Abraham. In Deuteronomy chapter 2, the Edomites, who are Arabs, are called the brethren of the Israelites. So you have a contradiction there. Then if you claim Deuteronomy 18 is talking about a fellow Israelite, then Deuteronomy chapter 34 denies that a prophet in Israel can be like Moses. This is why the Jewish Study Bible claims there's a contradiction in this text. The only explanation is brethren refers to an Arab, not to a fellow Israelite. He says, I haven't given you a reason that the Quran should be trusted, but I told you that the book of Deuteronomy prophesies a person who will be from the brethren of the Israelites. Since Deuteronomy 34 denies a fellow Israelite can be that prophet, it can only be from the Arabs. You haven't refuted that yet. Many Christian missionaries sometimes say, why should we believe a book written 600 years later in a different language and in a different country? Although I must point out that they believe in books also written in a different language, namely Greek, whereas Jesus spoke Aramaic/Hebrew, and these Gospels were also written in different countries, such as Rome, the Gospel of Mark, for example. One of the reasons Christians should accept the Quran is because the Bible commands you to. In the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 18, verse number 18, God speaks about raising a prophet from the brethren of the Israelites who will be like Moses, and he will also be a mouthpiece for God. And any person who does not listen to this prophet will be destroyed.
I will raise up for them a prophet like you from among their brothers. I will put my words in his mouth, and he will tell them everything I command him. If anyone does not listen to my words that the prophet speaks in my name, I myself will call him to account.
This prophecy was not fulfilled before Jesus, as the Dead Sea Scrolls and the New Testament confirm. Moreover, Jesus cannot be this prophet, as Deuteronomy chapter 34, verse number 10 says, and there shall never arise again in Israel a prophet like unto Moses.
Since then, no prophet has risen in Israel like Moses, whom the Lord knew face to face.
And since Jesus was from amongst Israel, he is ruled out. Moreover, Jesus himself said that this prophet will come after him. And John chapter 14, 15 and 16, Jesus speaks of someone to come after him who will testify to who he is. If you read the text carefully, you can see that this person is in fact the prophet like Moses, who shall speak what he hears and shall be told what to say, which doesn't sound like a Holy Ghost is 100% God.
But when he, the Spirit of truth, comes, he will guide you into all truth. He will not speak on his own, he will speak only what he hears, and he will tell you what is yet to come. He will not speak on his own, he will speak only what he hears. I will put my words in his mouth, and he will tell them everything I command him.
Christians claim this text is regarding the Holy Ghost, but it's clear that it's not the Holy Ghost. Also, did the Holy Ghost guide Christians into all truth and testify regarding Jesus? The answer is no, as any book on church history shows that Christians were at each other's throats for centuries upon centuries, trying to figure out things like, was Jesus just a man? Or was he just God? Or was he both? Was he the Father? Or was he a separate person? Was he subordinate to the Father? Or was he co-equal? And the list goes on. And I've got church father quotes to confirm that. Whereas when the Quran was revealed, it gave a clear and coherent picture of who Jesus was and Muslims are agreed across the board. We didn't argue with each other for centuries trying to figure out who Jesus is.
To clarify, I can't remember it word for word, but it basically says, a prophet will arise among you like Moses from among your brothers. It says something like that. Okay? Now, I'm just going to leave it to you to make your judgment whether that is a clear prophecy about Muhammad and the Quran or whether it's not. I don't need to say anything else. I'll leave that with you to make up your own mind. Now, despite me repeatedly inviting Zakiya to make a positive case why we should regard the Quran as a revelation from God, all we've had is the vague prophecy from Deuteronomy 18, which I'm sure anyone with an open mind would agree can't be taken as any strong evidence that the Quran is a revelation from God.
First point I'd like to say is that Richard keeps saying I brought up the vague prophecy of Deuteronomy 18, yet Richard couldn't refute it, whereas Isaiah 53, Isaiah 9:6, and or Daniel 7 were all refuted.
In the book of Acts, Peter applies that very prophecy to Jesus.
Deuteronomy 18, often referred to by Christians as the prophet greater than Moses.
It's interesting that the passage itself doesn't speak about someone greater than Moses. It speaks about someone like Moses.
Well, it will really, if you go to the end of the book of Deuteronomy, it does say right at the end, if I go there now, verse 10 of chapter 34, it says, "But since then there has not arisen in Israel a prophet like Moses, whom the Lord knew face to face."
Yeah, I find that puzzling because Deuteronomy 18 speaks about a prophet like Moses, but you mentioned at the end of the Deuteronomy, it says that there never will be a prophet, never has been a prophet as great as Moses. He seems to be described specifically as the greatest of prophets.
The Prophet of Allah, Mohammed, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.
Now, I'm just going to leave it to you to make your judgment whether that is a clear prophecy about Muhammad and the Quran or whether it's not. I don't need to say anything else. I'll leave that with you to make up your own mind.
وَالنَّجْمِ إِذَا هَوَى مَا ضَلَّ صَاحِبُكُمْ وَمَا غَوَى وَمَا يَنطِقُ عَنِ الْهَوَى إِنْ هُوَ إِلَّا وَحْيٌ يُوحَى عَلَّمَهُ شَدِيدُ الْقُوَى
صل على محمد يا رب العالمين اللهم صل على محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم